Good evening and welcome to BATV News. I'm Andrew Laidley. Prime Minister Andrew Holness met with Daniel Seah, Deputy Director of Singapore Cooperation Enterprise SCE, and representatives from the Special Economic Zone Authority SEZA this morning to discuss the partnership between both governments to develop Jamaica's Special Economic Zone SEZ, a memorandum of understanding which was signed between the Jamaican government and Singapore Cooperation Enterprise in December 2016 will see the development of a comprehension roadmap which the government says will foster a SEZ environment. During this morning's meeting, Prime Minister Holness noted that the development of the SEZ will greatly impact Jamaica's economic development, as all Jamaicans should benefit from the zone. This, he said, will be possible with limited intervention from government. The three-tiered MOU establishment that the Singapore Cooperation Enterprise will develop a world-class special economic zone, provide planning and workforce skills qualification framework, and create a business environment within the special economic zones. In August last year, the Jamaican government publicized the Special Economic Zone Act, which repeals the Jamaica Free Zone Act. The Act makes provisions for the development, regulation, construction, supervision, management, and control of special economic zones in Jamaica. It is expected that this will create a modern framework to attract investments in planned industrial clusters that develop and deliver a wider range of goods and services. And Prime Minister Holness says the stock market provides a means for equity as it allows Jamaicans, both rich and the poor, to own wealth by owning parts of listed companies. The Prime Minister was speaking at the opening ceremony of the Jamaica Stock Exchange Investments and Capital Markets Conference a few days ago. Anthony Morgan reports.
The Prime Minister says the issue of equity is the biggest obstacle in transforming how the economy works.
And when we're talking about prosperity, it's not to ignore the claims of those who have been dispossessed, those who have been disenfranchised, those who did not get an equal opportunity to be endowed. The claim of prosperity can never forget the poor. And so there must be a conversation in our society about equity.
He says this is why the government oftentimes holds on to assets.
You know, the question of will the society, will the elites be equitable and fair to the poor? Will the markets help the poor? If you were to privatize aspects of the NWC, what will happen to social water? These are fundamental questions. Should the poor die of thirst?
However, the Prime Minister notes that the stock market provides a way to achieve equity.
And that means, or one of those means, is the stock market. Because in the stock market, it allows the rich man and the poor man to own wealth, to own a part of the factor of production, to own parts of firms. And so it's critical that we promote a stock market.
For BATV News, I'm Anthony Morgan.
Opposition MP Fitz Jackson says he wants to give more protection to the depositor, and that's what the amendments he's proposing to the Banking Services Act is trying to achieve. The MP opened on the banking services in Parliament last Tuesday. More in this report. While making his case in the opening debate, Fitz Jackson noted that the bill is simply to restore some kind of equity within the banking sector when it comes to how depositors' monies are being handled.
The bill gives us the opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to put an end to such unreasonable and egregious practice of the deposit-taking institutions. Our failure to act now will only serve to deepen the suspicion of the Jamaican people that we cannot be trusted to protect their interests.
He said the previous act, which was passed in 2014, gives the financial institutions autonomy over the regulations, which he said is bad for depositors.
The Banking Services Act was passed in 2014 and taught It heralded new heights in the regulations of licensees, banks, and other financial institutions. It did not, however, adequately and forcefully address the regulation of these licensees as it concerned the consumer.
The opposition MP said an amendment to the existing act is needed, pointing out that that's what this new bill provides.
I introduced this bill, Mr. Speaker, as an to the Banking Service Act to strengthen the of licensees under the Act as it relates to depositors. Among other things, the need for a minimum applicable to all licensees is proposed in this bill. This is vital, Mr. Speaker, in a space of adult service standard, which vary greatly from institution to institution.
For BATV News, I'm Andrew Laidley. Contractor General Dirk Harrison says the government keeps granting contracts and licenses to businesses which lack integrity. He says this has caused successive governments to be hit by a number of corruption scandals which could have been avoided if proper due diligence was done. Here's more. While pointing his finger at some of the agencies which failed to produce accurate reports, the Contractor General noted that the OUR is among them.
But more so the OUR. They have got it right a number of times, yes, but they have got it wrong in some big cases. Yes, some cases get by, mistakes will be made, but some mistakes are made over and over again. In 2009, until the intervention of then Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Mr. Bruce Golding, what is known as Go-Tell investigation, that one could read easily on the OCG website.
He said the OCG and the Auditor General's reports are often overlooked until things start to go wrong.
So time and time again, the OCG will issue reports, the Auditor General issue reports. They are placed into File 13, nobody listens, but until civil society or until a warning shot is fired, in terms as the Gleaner quoted it, we see reaction in respect of carousel.
Mr. Harrison also indicated that if successive governments had paid closer attention, rooting out corruption wouldn't be so difficult.
If any administration, and I say both sides of the divide because the reports span both political divides, do their homework, sit down and diligently ensure that whatever processes are being undertaken, they would realize that the names in respect of some of these companies are the same. So if we're doing this, as the President said this morning, if the same thing is being done over and over again, and you're getting the same result, why is there no change?
For BATV News, I'm Andrew Laidley. Still to come, Mothers and Wisynco renew beverage partnership. The details when we return. Welcome back. The Wisynco Group and Mothers Enterprise have renewed their partnership to make Wisynco Brands the official beverage supplier for the fast food chain. The document was signed in Kingston yesterday. Anthony Morgan reports.
Chairman of the Wisynco Group, William Mafood, says his group is happy to be a part of the partnership.
So I'm very, very proud to say today that through its many brands, including Coca-Cola, True Juice, water, and bigger soft drinks, is very, very happy to be a part of this relationship with Mothers.
He says the relationship between both companies, which began over a decade ago, has grown significantly. The renewed partnership will see Wisynco Beverages being the preferred supplier for Mothers.
And even though we were doing business before, we did not become the primary beverage supplier until that time. And for the last 10 years, the relationship has grown and it has continued to blossom. and to bear good fruit. And Mothers has expanded, and Wisynco has expanded in that last 10 years. And I think together we have shown what two Jamaican companies who are rooted in Jamaica can really achieve. And I want to congratulate Richard and Carlisle and the entire team at Mothers for having the real confidence in another Jamaican company.
Meanwhile, General Manager of Mothers Enterprise, Richard Foreman, says he expects the partnership to continue for many more years.
Wisynco has been in our corner from before 2006, and I think Wisynco will be in our corner until long after we are gone. Right? Mothers is here to stay. We're a Jamaican company, and we believe in Jamaica, and we believe in the Jamaican people. So thank you very much, William, for that glowing recommendation. And we know that Wisynco will always be the best partner to choose.
For BATV News, I'm Anthony Morgan.
Minister of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries Carl Samuda says the sugar industry is expected to contribute $80 million in earnings to the economy this year. The minister says the sector continues to be a major employer, accounting for some 50,000 jobs. He says sugarcane is one of the most resilient and consistent crops if grown under perfect conditions and managed properly. Minister Samuda says there is the need for diversification of the sector into areas such as ethanol production and cogeneration. Meanwhile, the Agriculture Minister says there are 450,000 irrigable acres of agriculture land, of which only 12,500 is irrigated. The minister was speaking at the Jamaica Stock Exchange's 12th Regional Divestment and Capital Market Conference at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. The tourism product development company TPDCO and the Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts have signed a Memorandum of Understanding MOU to develop a craft development institute in St. Anne's Bay. The institute will be the first of its kind in the country. The signing took place during the press launch of the expanded Spruce Up Jamaica program on Tuesday. The Ministry of Tourism says the MOU outlines in detail the role the entities will play in the development and management of the Craft Institute. Speaking at the press launch, Minister Bartlett said the Craft Development Institute is a major initiative under the Spruce Up Jamaica program and will aid the ministry's agenda of creating an effective governance, operational, technical, and infrastructural framework. He said these will strengthen the craft sector and facilitate production, sales, promotion, and marketing of craft locally and internationally. The ministry said the CDI is also aimed at providing training and certification to current craft producers, supporting the development of authentic Jamaican craft and protecting new designs. The Institute is scheduled to welcome the first cohort of students in September 2018. Meanwhile, Principal of the Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts, Dr. Nicolene DeGrassi Johnson, said the partnership is an important facilitator of nation building through the arts. Digital and Flow today pledged their support to the Minister of National Security, Robert Montague, to promote the use of the ministry's personal security app, Stay Alert. Both companies say they will be zero network charges when customers download and use the app. Nordia Francis Williams tells us more.
With the concern and the rampant crime wave and the deleterious effects on the economy, Jamaica's two telecoms giants are lending their support to the Ministry of National Security. General Manager of Digicel Business Brian Easy says the company has started a campaign to promote the ministry's Stay Alert app. The Stay Alert app, which is available for downloads in the Google Play Store, helps users send anonymous information to the police either through video recording, audio recording, photo or message. There is also a panic mode on the app's menu, which allows for seamlessly making contact with the police if you're personally in distress or in a panic mode. That's why the Digicel Business Brian Easy says the company has agreed to make the download and use of the app by its subscribers free from data charges.
All 1.3 million subscribers, and these are smartphone subscribers on our network, will receive a text message with a link to download the app on their devices, and that starts today. We will also spread the word via our social media pages to more than 2 million fans who will want to play their part in securing a safer Jamaica. Again, to be clear, all Digicel customers will be able to use the Stay Alert app at any time without incurring data charges and whether or not they have an active data plan.
Flow is also on board. Head of Support, Troy Cockins, says the telecoms company will continue to be a supportive partner.
We have also made downloading easy, as I said before. It's charge-free, and any usage that is generated on the app is all. Just last week, Friday, I believe we had a meeting here last week, Tuesday. In that meeting, we had committed to doing an instant push to all the eligible customers, meaning customers who will have an Android phone, Android smartphone, because the iOS version is not yet ready. As soon as that is ready, we're more than willing to jump on board and also disseminate that information.
Meanwhile, Minister of National Security Roberto Montague says while he cannot take credit for developing the app, he saw the need for it to be better utilized.
It was done before my time. When I became minister, it was already there. But we had only had approximately 2,000 plus downloads, and most of it were persons from the university who were the test subjects, and then it was just left. I have decided to put the push behind it, and up to this morning I am told that we have just over 41,000 downloads in less than a year. With this partnership with Digicel and Cable and Wireless, we hope to move to about 1 million in very, very short order.
He says the app is a part of the ministry's 5-point strategy to fight crime.
The Stay Alert app that we have is the tool, is the vehicle, is the instrument that will bring together this network of good people and to put in the hands of the ordinary Jamaican a activity, a device to plug in to this network of good people to combat the criminals.
Both telecoms representatives also say the app will now be pre-added to all their cell phones coming into the island. For BATV News, I'm Norda Francis Williams.
Stay with us. Regional and international stories are next. Welcome back. It's time now for regional and international news. Barbados Prime Minister Frondell Stewart says construction on the proposed $100 million 15-story Hyatt-centric resort is set to get underway during the first 6 months of this year. The resort is to be built on Barbados' south coast. Construction of the 237-room resort, which was expected to start last year, failed to get off the ground amid strong objections from activists and the Barbados National Trust. The groups were adamant that authorities had to conduct a comprehensive environmental impact assessment before granting approval. The Barbados National Trust warned that the project would affect capital Bridgetown's UNESCO World Heritage designation. However, Prime Minister Stewart assured that the stamp of approval would be underpinned by all the necessary conditions to safeguard the national interests. The Prime Minister says the Hyatt project, along with others to come on stream soon, is expected to pump more than $1 billion into the ailing Barbados economy and create some 14,000 jobs. U.S. President Donald Trump has promised to bring manufacturing jobs back to America. He was pressured local companies, especially automakers, to invest. Home General Motors is as cited. However, it is closing down one of the 3 manufacturing operations in Ohio and laying off many of its workers. Al Jazeera's Rob Hendrickson reports.
Hi, Donald John Trump.
In Washington, President Donald Trump was promising a revival for U.S. manufacturing worker.
We will follow 2 simple rules: buy American and hire American.
As he said those words in his inaugural address, 1,000 workers at the General Motors plant in Lordstown, Ohio were walking off the job for the last time. a devastating layoff.
Completely devastating. You know, a lot of people are very depressed. I actually worry about a lot of these people because I know a lot of them and they don't know what to do.
With every lost auto job, the United Auto Workers Union says 8 related jobs go with them.
People don't have the money to be able to go out and spend. We're okay, but I'm sure that a lot of businesses, restaurants, stores, things like that, it'll hit them.
Trump shamed GM on Twitter, telling the company to make its cars in the U.S. or pay a big border tax. But GM's Lordstown plant did not lay off Chevy Cruze workers because of the Mexican plant. It only sends about 4,500 cars a year to the U.S., about as many as Lordstown workers churn out in a day. The reason for the cutbacks? With low fuel prices, small car sales are plummeting. Trump had also scolded Ford for planning to build a new plant in Mexico. When Ford later scrapped that plant, CEO Mark Fields told Al Jazeera the cause was that same small car slump, not Trump.
Primary reason we're canceling that plant is simply because we didn't need the capacity anymore.
Trump may miss some of the nuances of the auto industry's global operations, but many union workers in industrial towns like this say that doesn't matter. They're just happy he's pushing for more manufacturing here in the U.S. That includes local auto workers union president Glenn Johnson, a lifelong Democrat who did not support Trump, a Republican.
What I'm happy about is that there's somebody talking about it. We believe that everything should be made in the United States and we should build everything and make it bigger and better because given a level playing field, we can compete with anyone.
But here in Lordstown, beneath the nation's tattered banner, a U.S. manufacturing renaissance seems far away. Lordstown went from 16,000 auto jobs in the 1980s to 3,000 now. Hundreds of workers are breaking ground on 2 energy plants and an aluminum plant. When they are built, they will employ perhaps 120 people. John Hendren, Al Jazeera, Lordstown, Ohio.
UK Prime Minister Theresa May is set to meet US President Donald Trump on Friday, becoming the first world leader to meet him since he took office. But British politicians have expressed concerns at the type of ties that might be forged. Jacob Greaves reports.
A special relationship for a new age. British Prime Minister Theresa May is on her way to the White House, that message in tow. But from all sides of the UK's political spectrum, there's baggage.
Say to the President that he must abide by and not withdraw from the Paris climate.
Will the Prime Minister make clear that in no circumstances will she permit Britain to be dragged into facilitating that torture as we the 11th?
Will the Prime Minister tell President Trump that she is not prepared to lower our food and safety standards or to open health systems for privatisation?
That's not to mention potential differences over NATO. On Friday, Theresa May will become the first global leader to hold face-to-face talks with Trump. A US-UK trade deal would undoubtedly be a boost for May, but even some in her own party are asking what a deal might cost. For her part, May says she'll be frank with the new president and put Britain first. The problem might be that Trump has risen to power on a promise to do exactly the same for America.
U.S. healthcare giant Johnson & Johnson will buy Swiss biotech company Actelion in a $30 billion all-cash deal that includes spinning off Actelion's research and development pipeline. Ivor Bennett reports.
The drugs Actelion makes treat rare diseases. Pulmonary hypertension, for example, is thought to affect less than 1 in 20,000. But that's exactly what makes the Swiss firm attractive. High prices, high margins that Johnson & Johnson has agreed to buy for $30 billion.
Actelion is the darling of European biotech. You don't get much better than Actelion, and the drugs that they have created for hypertension, pulmonary hypertension, are industry leaders. You know, you're buying into the expertise.
The deal values Actelion's shares at $280, 23% more than Wednesday's close, and more than 80% over where they were when takeover talks began in November. But even so, the deal doesn't include Actelion's R&D unit. That's being spun off as a separate company led by the firm's founder. But Johnson & Johnson clearly feel it's money well spent, a look ahead perhaps to prices post-Trump.
You'd have to say that if the Trump presidency is for anything, it's keeping intellectual property within the United States and profiting from that. So it'd be interesting to see whether we start to see pharmaceutical prices outside of the US rise as a result.
Shares already have. Actelion stock jumping 20% on news of the sale.
Talking Stocks is after the break. Welcome back. It's time now for Talking Stocks. 43 stocks traded today, of which 23 advanced, 15 declined, and 5 traded firm. The main JSE index advanced by 1,133 points to close at 198,445 points. The junior index also advanced by 2 points to close at 2,811 points. Over 3 million units traded, valued at more than $78 million on the Jamaican dollar market. And on the US dollar market, 67 units traded, valued at over $15 US. Caribbean Cement Company, with over 865,000 units changing hands, accounted for 23% of the market volume. Cable and Wireless was second with over 626,000 units trading. National Commercial Bank accounted for over 519,000 units, amounting to 14% of the market volume, crossing the floor. KLE Group was the top advancer, up 29 cents to close at $2.49, followed by Mayberry Investments, up 54 cents to close at $5, and Medical Disposables and Supplies, up 59 cents to close at $5.90. The main decliners were AMG Packaging and Paper Company, down $3.92 to close at $20.02, followed by Siboney Group, losing 3 cents to close at 17 cents, and the Jetcon Corporation down 60 cents to close at $9.70. In foreign exchange trading, the Jamaican dollar ended the day selling for $128.56 against the US. The Canadian went for $97.53, while the British pound closed the day at $161.44 on average. And that's all the news we have for this evening, but before we go, a recap of our top story. Prime Minister Andrew Holness met with Daniel Seah, Deputy Director of Singapore Corporation Enterprise, and representatives from the Special Economic Zone Authority this morning to discuss the partnership between both governments to develop Jamaica's Special Economic Zone. Thanks for watching. For more content, visit our website at batvja.com. I'm Andrew Laidley. Pleasant viewing.